Hello, I'm Callum Dilietto, and this is the second season of the Flock Together podcast in partnership with Oman Convention Bureau. And we are here at the Langham, and I'm joined by Lucy. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am very pleased to have you as part of the Flock community.
Thank you.
Most recently, we saw each other probably just a little bit tipsy at a Christmas party for Sight.
We did. I was also a little bit hungover that day, which I was trying to mask.
This is a problem with the festive season, isn't it? Like, it's just party after party after party.
Tuesday in December is an issue, but yeah, it was very good.
But no, I remember thinking at the time, I was like, I've got to get you on the podcast. And so now here we are. So the first part of the podcast is your letter to the industry. And this is an opportunity for you to say whatever you want to the wider events industry.
Yeah, I think this is tricky because I think there is so much in the industry that needs looking at or that is great. And I think I was sort of toying with a few different thoughts about this, but I think the thing that I settled on, and I don't know if it really means anything to anyone else, but it's almost like move with purpose.
Okay.
So whatever you're doing, have some purpose behind it. And I think whether that is from a sustainability angle, from an inclusivity angle, just decisions that you're making for the work that you're doing, think it all the way through and think of it from a perspective of inclusivity. Or is what we're doing right? Does it feel like, it's tricky to sort of articulate, but it's almost like when you meet someone and you work in events and I've got loads of friends that are medical.
Yeah.
So I'll be somewhere and then someone will say, oh, what do you do? And my friend's like, oh, I'm an A&E nurse, or I do this or I do this. And then it comes to me and I'm like, oh, it really sounds a bit like I organise parties. And that is just not what we do. And we've moved on so far from that. And I think we've got a lot more purpose, strategy, all of that within all of the events that we do. And it's just making sure that we stand by the events that we do. And I think as much as, 2020, don't really want to get into all of that, that was an awful period of time for our industry. It did help us stop and consider what events actually were worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I feel like the events that have survived and come out of the other side and that clients are willing to put money behind are clients that are actually events that are genuinely about connecting people, experiences, not just events for the sake of it, not just putting people on a plane to go halfway across the world for something that they could actually sometimes do in a different format. Is it communication? Is it virtual? All of that kind of stuff. So I think it's just keep that lens and don't just do what we've always done for the sake of it. Kind of, I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone else apart from me.
No, it fully does. It fully does. And I think I've been in similar conversations where you've got a doctor or a lawyer or this, and it's such a well-established career that people, they get it, they understand the purpose, they have their opinions on it either way. Whereas the events industry is actually just as powerful, if not more powerful and I always talk about the fact that, the decisions that one event planner makes, it can have global ripples in the way that you move people around or the content you give them or the inspiration you create or whatever it is. And the ripples can be so big, and yet sometimes we really downplay it because we think, oh, well, if they don't get a coffee or they only have a tea, no, it's not the end of the world. And it's like, yeah, but that's not what it's about.
Exactly. And we do sweat the small stuff and those tiny little things, and the exact Pantone reference of something is so, so important. But it's bigger than that at the same time.
It's part of a bigger picture.
Yeah, and all of those details matter to build something bigger. And we talk a lot at work around creating lasting change, doing things that will make a difference, will make someone behave differently or feel inspired. And I think that kind of links all into it. Other than that, my other letter would be maybe let's all just try and lobby for a 4-day week if everyone does it.
I like that, yeah.
We keep getting people saying, oh, can we do a 4-day week? And I'm like, unless everyone goes in, makes a solid pact, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, let's all agree we want a 4-day week.
Yeah, let's lobby, and I think we could do it.
So the next part of the podcast is all about remembering. So I'd like you to remember the first ever work trip that you went on.
Yeah, I remember it really fondly, actually. I was on placement from uni. So I did marketing at uni, went into the placement office to see what there was about. I thought I was going to be like an advertising executive. That was what I thought my route was going to be. You know, applied for many jobs, and then I saw this one that said event executive, and it said travel, and I was like, that's mad. Like, let me see what that's about. Applied for it. They did an assessment day. It was actually, was it here? Or at the Bloomsbury Hotel, I think it was. We went, did this assessment day, all of that, and I was like, this is so cool. So ended up getting that job, and as part of that, my first event was at the hotel camp in Helsinki.
Nice.
Which I was like, this is crazy. It was super nice, and it was a really, really like Bobby Basic conference, you know, DDR, nothing fancy at all, but I literally thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and meeting all these people and getting to, you know, I was on the hospitality desk and getting to like meet all the people that I'd been emailing. I just literally was just like, this is actually the coolest thing in the world. And I always remember like at the end of it's like my strongest memory, which is probably bad to say, but at the end of the night in the bar, and two of the ladies that I'd gone with were like quite significantly older than me. I was at uni, like I would be drinking, you know, vodka lemonades, vodka Red Bulls, all of that. That was like my thing. And then they all sort of went around the table and ordered red wine or gin and tonics. And I was like, okay, I can't order a vodka lemonade. So I was like, I'll have a red wine. And I despised every drop of it, but I was like, I'm a grown up now, this is what I have to do. And then it sort of like, it just became a thing, gin and tonic, red wine, and I was like, this is what grown ups do. So then I just ended up liking them, and it was like that whole thing of it was like a coming of age. I was like, this is my moment where I grow up.
Helsinki
was the time. Like, they should make a movie out of it. Like, but yeah, it was just that moment of like thinking, okay, I need to grow up.
See, I never got that memo. Because I've been on like fam trips where we've been in Paris, and people are having these like really fancy coffees and things like that, and I've been like, can I get a hot chocolate please? And they're like,
extra cream,
whipped cream, marshmallows, and like I'll be there like with a spoon like drinking my like hot chocolate, and everyone else is there sipping their like really Parisian coffee. So yeah, I probably should have one of those coming of age moments, but I haven't quite had it yet.
There's still time.
There's still time. And what was your most recent work trip?
So I don't get out on site as much now, but probably the most recent one was last year, Lisbon.
Nice.
So we did a nice program out there, kind of conference with lots of social elements, partner programs, really nice dinners. So went out and did all the dinner recce's and all of that, and it was really, really nice. And we went in April, and it was like that boiling hot time. Great DMC, really brilliant venues, food, everything was just really great. And I didn't actually get to go on site for the job because I was somewhere else, but it was really, really special.
I feel like I've neglected Portugal. I've been to the Algarve, which I don't think does the country justice at all. But Lisbon is one where I'm like, I really need to get over to Lisbon because it's just so beautiful. And
it's one of those cities that I think you can just do loads there. There's so much there. It's like Barcelona, but a bit more contained. Yeah, it's really great.
The next part of the podcast is about revisiting. So if you had like the magic powers to go back in time and relive a destination experience, which would it be?
It's actually really recent. In January, I went to South Africa.
Nice.
And yeah, like New Year's Day safari, all of that sort of stuff. And then went down to Cape Town. And it's honestly just, I can't stop talking about it. I'm so desperate to work out there, take a group out there, because there is just so much to see and do, and I feel like I only scratched the surface. I was out there for 2 weeks, and I wanted to stay another 2 weeks. Like, it was just phenomenal. The food, the value for money that you can get out there, just the feeling. So I'd done Cape Town very, very briefly, like years and years ago, on a kind of an in and out kind of conference. But yeah, the feeling of being out on safari with all the local people, like even in Cape Town, like all the Uber drivers were giving us all these amazing recommendations and all of that kind of stuff. And it was so different to the perception that I had in terms of safety. I felt so safe the whole time.
See, that's really interesting, because I've always had that like association. South Africa, you know, you hear these like tales, and obviously it depends on what parts you go to and you know how you manage it. But yeah, it's interesting you say that actually you felt very safe.
I think like anywhere, you have to be careful and you have to sort of, you know. But it was the warmth of the people. You just felt like you were part of the city, and like hiked up Table Mountain and all of that kind of stuff. And there is a restaurant there which I think is now like my favourite restaurant in the world, called Kloof Street House, and it is just the coolest place. And it was just such a vibe. It felt, I don't know, I just couldn't place what it was, but I was just like, this is a really, really cool place. And we just had the most amazing food, drinks, like no expense spared. We were like, this is a really big night, and it was like £80 or something.
Yeah.
It is just such amazing value, and I think you can just do so much. Yeah, I feel like I'm winning at life if I can just go there every January. That's my new ambition.
You're literally making me want to book a flight now. Like you're
honestly,
like, yeah.
I can't stop talking about it. It was just the feeling. I can't describe it, but it was just like warmth. Oh, it was so great.
And if you could make any hotel a home, which would it be?
I had two in the running for this, but I've settled on the Conrad Tokyo. Did a job out there quite a long time ago, but it was a really intense incentive. So we did quite a few site visits. So for that period of the year, I was out there about 3 or 4 times doing various things. And it is just a gorgeous spot. Like the views, the restaurants, how the staff were with us was insane. There was a guy who worked there called Ari, who I'll never forget. He was like their VIP front of house, and he literally would just pop up out of nowhere all the time. You're like, do you need this? And it was a really tough gig.
Yeah.
It was one of those that was hard. It was hard. We had trouble, you know, tricky moments with suppliers and all of that kind of thing. And, you know, just working somewhere like that is so different. But it was such a great event, and it was such a buzz afterwards. And it was just, we really felt like part of, it felt like home.
Yeah.
And it is a gorgeous hotel as well, obviously. So that helped. Yeah, I think I have really, really, really fond. You know, like when memories come up on your phone, if anything ever comes up from that, I'm like, oh, that was really tough, but really, really great.
A little pang in your heart, like, oh.
Yeah, there was this guy that worked in the bar called Peter, and he was just so adorable. And every now and again, like a picture of him comes up on my phone. I'm like, oh, Peter, I wonder what he's doing now. It's like 8 years ago or something, so I don't know. But I think, yeah, that hotel will hold a place in my heart, I think, forever.
And out of curiosity, what was the second one that you were torn between?
The Rosewood, Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
That's absolutely gorgeous. It is. We did, just after they opened, we did an event out there, and they were just, it's gorgeous anyway. The Rosewood is obviously great. And yeah, it was around the time where there was the protests in Hong Kong, so we had to flip a dinner that was going to be external in-house within like 4 hours or something, and they helped us bring in entertainment and just make it something, and they just couldn't have done enough. It was just really
nice.
Yeah, it was great.
So either way, you would be moving to Asia?
Essentially, yeah.
Or
South Africa.
Or South Africa,
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's all in. It's all in the mix.
The penultimate part of the podcast is Reimagine, and it's where you don't have to worry about your clients anymore. It's all about you. Mm-hmm. You know, if you could plan an incentive trip for yourself, once in a lifetime experience, where would it be? What would you do? And which celebrity would accompany you?
Well, I would do the Belmond Orient Express.
Nice.
Because I looked at this for a client recently, and I was just like, I want to do this. And they do this special trip that only like sets off once a year. It's like, I think it's like the 31st of May or something, and it's Paris to Istanbul. So I would go to Paris on the Eurostar, and I think this is maybe sustainable as well, because we'll be not using planes.
Yeah, exactly.
We're on trains. We're training the whole time. So yeah, we'd be off to Paris. I think probably stay in the Four Seasons, maybe have a little spa treatment, all of that kind of stuff ahead of time, just to really
just to prepare yourself for the luxury that's to come.
Yeah, luxury for luxury. And then they do Paris to Istanbul, and it's like the 20s. It's like that decadence. And if it was my incentive and I'm allowed to just bring all my friends and family as well and just take the whole train, that would be the preference. So they stop off at various points, obviously, along the way. They have this kind of dinner cart where you have this all like a la carte, gorgeous dinner. They turn around your sort of your cabin for the evening, and then they have this like piano. There's this certain cart apparently that's like sort of where they have the piano and the drinking at the end of the night.
Nice.
So I think what I see for the end of the evening is Elton John on the piano.
Oh, good.
Bit of a sing-song.
Yes.
All of the hits. And then everyone else goes to bed and me and Elton just sit at the bar. I know he doesn't drink, but I might have a little nightcap.
Yeah.
And then he just tells me stories about like Princess Diana and all of the cool people he's met and all of the cool things he's done.
Love that. You've nailed that. Like, and also I felt like you've painted such a good storyboard of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can see it, and then this, and then this, and I'm like, wow.
And like you have to really dress up for dinner.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's almost like a train of like the forgotten era or something. And I don't know how you could ever replicate that anywhere else, but just on that train. So yeah, I think that would be like ultimate incentive.
I recently did the Belmond Pullman to Kent and back.
Yes.
That was really lovely, and it was very 1920s, and we all dressed up, for the occasion and stuff. And there's something great about being on those like kind of luxury trains, and you do feel so decadent, and it does feel like a blast from the past because you're traveling in a way that isn't really traveled as much anymore, and the service is always incredible, and all the staff, and they just have so many stories from all of the things that they've seen and what's gone on. And I think we're just so in a sort of time now where transport is generally to get from A to B. Yeah.
You're like on a train to get somewhere, but actually that just sitting back, enjoying it, taking in the scenery, like I just think that would be really cool.
Sometimes the transport can be the experience itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the final part of the podcast is a quickfire reaction round. So I'm going to ask you some quickfire questions, nothing too strenuous, and you have to respond as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So, packing, last minute or week before?
Last minute.
Nice. Carry on or check in?
Check in always.
Oh wow, you're firm
solid
about that
on
one.
That. Yeah.
You...
I just can't with the making everything small. No.
See, I'm the complete opposite.
Really?
I hate checking in
You're
a
like
bag.
packing everything into an envelope.
It could be like a 3-week holiday, and I'm like, I can make this work. I will carry it on.
You are either one way or another,
Yeah.
I think, in life.
Airport lounge or shopping?
Lounge.
Aisle seat or window seat?
Aisle.
You thought
If
about
it's
that?
long haul. Yeah, it kind of depends. But yeah, I like to be able to just get out if I need to.
Fair. I like to be able to rest my head.
Yeah.
That's the make or break, isn't it? City or nature?
I think more nature these days.
Like South Africa.
Yeah. One with the animals.
Lay-in or early start?
Lay-in.
Poolside or seaside?
Seaside.
Planned or spontaneous?
Probably planned.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Breakfast, hot or cold?
Hot.
Hotel, room service or restaurant?
Restaurant.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for being part of the Flock Together community and being a bird of a feather, as it were. So, yeah, no, it's brilliant. And I knew that you would deliver on some fantastic stories. So, thank you.
Thank you.